summarize kind of what I talked about yesterday. I didn't really have access. Well, I did, but I didn't know how to use it. These slides here in the classroom today. So as tensions heated up after the Boston Tea Party in 1773, they got the Intolerable Acts. Then the shot heard around the world, April 19, 1775. Basically, the revolution has started, and they have the First and Second Continental Congress. So the Second Continental Congress is the big one, okay, that's going to run, be 12 of 13 colonies to start in Philadelphia. They will all get there. I think New Jersey was late. So this will go May 10th, 1775 to March 1st, 1781, okay? That's when they'll write the Articles of Confederation, okay? So this discussed plan of action, road to independence is laid, all right? And I talked about how John Adams really became the driving force here behind independence, okay? When they first started in May, nobody was really talking out loud about independence, maybe in private, but not out loud. And so from May to July, it's going to really be, people like John Adams that are the driving force. Franklin will help. But when they finally do agree, all 13 colonies agree, they write the declaration. Now, on the committee, you had John Adams was on it, Ben Franklin, Jefferson wrote it, Robert Livingston and Roger Sherman were on the committee. So when Jefferson wrote it, they kind of worked, they had their own little, changes they wanted to make. And then they put it in front of the whole Second Continental Congress, and they're going to have changes they're going to want to make. There's some stuff in the original that deals with slavery, and the tell you what, the southern states are really going to have a problem with some of the Declaration of Independence. And so they're going to change it. Jefferson's going to have to modify the document to make those people happy, okay? Otherwise, there is no independence, okay, unless you get all 13 on board, okay? So the video, again, I encourage you to watch before you write your essay on this, okay? I do have in your book some deleted paragraphs from the deleted causes on page 32 of the Declaration, okay? So obviously Jefferson uses a lot of Locke's ideas, many ways to document, laid out a type of government that they wanted. All men are created equal and so forth, relying on the consent of the governed. That goes back to Locke, okay? George Washington is chosen as commander-in-chief in June, okay? And they'll start sending up, let's skip that. Okay. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you that stuff there. Okay. Next thing I'm going to put up is the review sheet. Okay. And we need to focus a little bit on, the test tomorrow. Because what I just finished was, part of your essay. Okay, so here's your review sheet that's up on the module on Canvas, okay? So this is total of 70 points. Okay, so we're going to have a 30-point objective and then a 40-point essay, which you'll be writing on Monday and Tuesday, okay? And I really want to encourage everybody, this class is 5th hour, get in here, blank sheets of paper, and start writing. I'll have this question up on the board, this exact question, and you guys Monday and Tuesday come in and go, okay? Because it's going to be a time crunch, okay, to get 45 minutes in there and do it, okay? So let's talk about the test, the objective test, which is Thursday and Friday, okay? So you have all these definitions and so forth that are in your notes, okay? I went over all of these in class, okay? So you can go back and look at those videos if you need to, or if you have these notes, you can fill this out. There's 20 matching, okay? So the first 20 questions are matching. It's going to be a lot of these terms, all right? and you have to match it up with the best, the best answer, okay? Then there's 2 listing questions. We went through these, the 5 basic concepts of democracy. So things like, majority rule, minorities' rights, the fundamental worth of the individual, compromise, that sort of thing, okay? And then the 4 characteristics of the state. You need territory, population, government, sovereignty, okay? Those are your 4 there. Okay, you can look those up in the notes. Okay, so those are listing questions, and then Hobbes versus Locke. So I'm going to ask you to compare and contrast these 2 political philosophies as it pertains to the social contract theory, what their theories are based on, okay, and where they stand, okay. And obviously you guys read those. If you look at the bottom paragraph of of those pages where you read those philosophies, that kind of summarizes it, but also the discussion that we had on natural rights, right, life, liberty, and property, consent of the governed. If government doesn't secure these rights, it's the right of the people to abolish or overthrow that government. Okay, that the legitimacy of government doesn't come from God in Locke's view, it comes from the people. Representative democracy, where Hobbes obviously had a pessimistic view that man is selfish, that they're self-interested, they're rational enough, knowing that life in a state of nature would be nasty, brutish, and short, that they would kill each other without a strong government to control our combative and destructive ways. And so we need a monarch, an absolute ruler to control us, okay, because we are so evil, okay, but smart enough, rational enough to choose that. You got subjective truth versus objective truth in those 2, okay? So those are things you're going to want to talk about in those 2 social contract theories, all right? And that is day 1, okay, of the test. And so I know you want to focus on that. You need to, okay? But when we get to the essay, all right, which, you should probably be prepping for now, you've got, okay, explain the impact of the following had on the foundation of our government. English founding documents, okay? So we went through the roots of our rights, that page 20. That thing is good. You don't have to list everything, every right found in every document. You do want to mention the 3 documents, okay, and what they did. Limiting the power of the king, the Magna Carta, right? Limited government, representative government with Parliament coming in and the Petition of Right and the English Bill of Rights. So a short discussion of those, and also, the British, the English, the impact they had on us, okay? Whether it be our language, our laws, and so forth, okay? Then you go into the colonial and revolutionary era. You've got the 3 types of colonies, right? The royal, proprietary, the independent. From 1607, Jamestown, okay, up until the end of the French and Indian War in 1761, you've got that era of salutary neglect. Now, within these colonial governments, you had systems set up, 3 branches of government, who got to choose the legislature, who got to control the purse, control the money, in these different types of colonies. So you want to do a discussion of these colonies and how they were set up, because that's going to impact us moving forward. Then with the end of salutary neglect, you get, the Stamp Act trying to pay for British debt, okay, a response to that. What was our response to that? Obviously, John Adams' rights and grievances, no taxation without representation, okay, and then where does it go from there? Then you move through it. It's a timeline, okay, so you go to, the Boston Massacre, 1770, the response to that, Paul Revere, right? You've got the Boston Tea Party and the British response to that, right? The Intolerable Act, 1774, all all right, and then just how much they clamp down on the colonists, and that's going to lead to the, Lexington and Concord in 1775, the start of the American Revolution. Then you get your first and second Continental Congresses, and what they went through to develop the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so the third paragraph is the founding fathers, including speeches and famous documents. Okay, in this revolutionary era, you're probably going to want to talk about the Sons of Liberty. If you talk about them here, you don't necessarily have to talk about them in the last paragraph. And if you want to save all the founders for the last paragraph, that can be difficult to explain all of this, the revolutionary experience, without mentioning any of the founders, okay, like Sam Adams or Hancock, right? So some of them you might want to hold back for the last paragraph: Jefferson, George Washington, and then in your book, okay, guys, this is where a lot of people will come up a little bit short. Okay, so in your book, beyond the starting on page 21, there's a thing about the video you're supposed to watch, Rebels with a Cause. Okay, and then you have the myth of the Midnight Messenger, Paul Revere. We know Revere did the lithograph of the Boston Massacre. Okay. Patrick Henry's speech before the Virginia Convention. And this is something that I probably slighted a little bit in my lecture. Okay. Virginia was huge. Okay. It was a big colony. Very important people came from there. If Virginia voted for independence, then it's a lot easier to get North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia on board if Virginia comes along. Okay. So Patrick Henry, who is a man that speaks of liberty, right? He gives this impassioned speech at the Virginia Convention because they are the ones that are going to decide how Virginia is going to vote in the Second Continental Congress. They're going to give them instructions. I mean, at the Second Continental Congress, it's a who's who from Virginia. You've got Jefferson there, you got Washington there, and Richard Henry Lee from there. Okay, they receive instructions after this speech by Patrick Henry in Virginia to vote for independence. Okay, that is going to bring it home for John Adams. John Adams has been trying to get the South on board, and that's going to bring it home. So Patrick Henry's speech is of great importance. Okay, and then Thomas Paine, who I've mentioned before as a member of the Sons of Liberty. Paine is going to pen a document called Common Sense. Okay, this document will sell 150,000 copies of this will be sold in the colonies. Okay, so you want to read about this. And basically, he makes a common sense argument that this small island on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean should not control such a large, what will become a large country from so far away. And so he makes this impassioned argument, and 150,000 copies, guys, people are reading this all throughout the colonies. So Paine really does take a lot of credit in trying to think in this way that he brought on independence for the United States. Okay, we'll learn more about Paine later on. Okay, he also wrote during the Revolution the Crisis. Okay, now you don't really have to mention this in your paper, but it is important. This is an inspirational statement to our troops, who up to that point in December of 1776 have been getting their butts kicked by the British. Okay, this is December 19th, 1776. This will be read to Washington's army at Valley Forge in Pennsylvania. And on Christmas Day, guys, they're going to cross the Delaware and surprise the Hessians in what will become the first of very few victories for George Washington. Okay, and then you have the Declaration of Independence itself that definitely you want to mention, and Jefferson. Okay, You've got some deleted clauses, and then there's a thing on slavery with Jefferson that you can mention if you want, okay? So those are some of the additional founding fathers that you'll want to mention, including speeches, famous documents, in your last body paragraph of your essay, okay? So I've got two of you here. You guys have any questions about what to expect on the test? It's pretty cut and dry. Ella, Abby, got any questions?
I don't think so, not from me.
Okay.
No, me neither.
Yeah, so hopefully I explained that pretty well, what to expect. And, you know, the first test, you know, hopefully it won't take the whole hour. And those I'll grade pretty quickly. The essays will take me a little while to grade. Got to get some history tests graded today. So, guys, hope you have a good day. I'll post this for those of you that weren't here. And I appreciate the company. It's pretty lonely up here. Not many teachers here today. But have a restful day. Get ready for this test. Hopefully you do well. Okay? Y'all have a great day.